Welcome to Pillow Talk.
Welcome. How are you this week?
I'm good this week. Been a long week and it's only Monday, but I'm still good.
That's awesome. So yeah, we've been working together a lot this year so far. It's middle of February. A lot of new things that we're working towards, and just some fresh goals. First of the year is always good for that. We've just been talking a lot about how we work together as we're achieving goals as a couple. And we've been very intentional about that this year. And we do a SYMBAS certification, or we're SYMBAS certified, and we do a SYMBAS certification with either premarital couples, or just it's a nice top overview for marriages that just need a refresh, right? And one of the things in the SYMBAS is there's an assessment in there that helps you to there we go. Helps you to get your mic right. Just it kind of helps you to align your conversations and your communication as you do work towards things together. And so there's about four areas that are pretty important to talk about in this as we work together to achieve your goals. And I think number one, we talk a lot about communication, because guess what? You can't know my goals if we don't communicate.
Right. I mean, and then, in order for those communications to be open, you've got to be willing to listen to those goals too, without starting to cast judgment immediately, so.
And actually discussing your goals is the first step towards supporting each other. We always talk a lot about that we grow separately together, or that we work separately together. And that's the reason we say that is because it's important to remember that you are an individual. I'm an individual. We do have very unique goals that are specific to us, but they always come into the context of two are better than one, that we're always working for unity to build on common ground. And therefore our goals, as we talk about them, we realize that they a lot of times are aligned. We think at the top level that we're both looking to do different things this year, but as we talk about it and discuss it, we realize that we're able to support each other in that, because end of the day, they do begin to meld into each other a little bit.
Yeah, you kind of have that. It's amazing, like when you're on the same wavelength, you don't have to have the exact same thought pattern for things to necessarily, work out.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's always kind of cool to watch that take place, and things just kind of start to melt together, like you said.
And sometimes when you're busy, we talk about communication, you think, well, gosh, guys, we're so busy. It's hard for us to spend 30 minutes to an hour or 2 hours talking about things. And so sometimes it's great if it is a face-to-face conversation, but sometimes you can compare your notes, your journaling notes, or the notes that you've made as you've been walking out your own goals. And that helps you to keep that communication open, even if it's not a 2 or 3 hour conversation. It's comparing, hey, that matches up. Here's something I want to add to that, because this is what God's been showing me. And then your expectations become clear, because I know what you're seeing, what I'm seeing.
Right.
And then we have clarity on that. And that actually takes us to the next thing, which is to be able to express admiration for your goals and for my goals. As I express admiration for your goals, it's an opportunity to see you do things that maybe you haven't thought about doing in the past. And if you stretch a little bit in that, I can show admiration for you in that. And I think that's also a very key component as you work together to achieve goals, is to express admiration, even if you're not quite in the same space with that.
I know, with us, anytime that, you have that admiration, basically what that is encouragement, and saying, I support what you're doing. I can't believe you're thinking like that, whatever. It just automatically brings in that unity that you're after in life, because it's like, oh, they do care about what my thoughts and dreams are, and, like what we were just talking about, once you get to discussing them and you start realizing, that's because you start to see how it's like a puzzle, how those pieces start to fit together and how you can help out.
And I don't think there's a greater motivator out there, that's hard to say, than admiration. When you truly admire something your spouse is doing, when you admire something that I'm doing, it's a great motivator. It's a great encouragement. So then number three, kind of in line with admiration, is respecting the changing needs that you have as you work towards your goals. So
Oh yeah.
sometimes when you're being challenged and stretched, we've talked about that before, that wow, it can be a little scary. Anytime something is stretched, sometimes it can be a little painful or a little awkward. And so in a season when you or I as a spouse are changing and experiencing some new emotions, some new concepts as we're growing towards a goal that's been presented to us, it's really important that I respect those changes that you are walking through.
Right.
Because it doesn't mean that it's going to be something that lasts forever, but maybe you're struggling with something in that. And if I just dismiss that,
Hmm.
if I just disqualify you because you're struggling emotionally or physically or whatever that would be, because it's maybe you're doing a fitness goal and
Right.
you're doing something that's so hardcore you've never done before, and you're coming home and you're just frustrated and you're crabby because your body's just worn out.
Hmm.
Okay. That's a pretty basic illustration, but me comprehending that and respecting that this is what it's going to take for you to accomplish that physical fitness goal, then I respect that and I show
Right.
that respect for you.
Yeah, I think, anytime somebody's doing something, and I know with us, it's real when you know each other as well as a married couple knows each other, it's real easy to say things that, no, you don't mean harmful, but it can mean come
Mhm.
across. And, I mean, you could do the fitness goal thing, it'd be really easy to diminish when they're like saying, hey, I lifted extra 10
Yeah.
pounds today. Yeah, 10 pounds. That's heavy. It's like, no,
That's a
extra 10.
that's a good point, actually.
And then
Yeah.
you start thinking, well, why do I
Celebrating
even try?
spouse's achievements, even
Right.
if you don't feel like they're a big deal, it is a big deal. And again, it's checking in with that conversation.
Hmm.
It's making sure that you're still on the same page. Like, well, so you're still really motivated? Whoops, I just lost my earpiece. Are you really motivated for this? What can I do to help you? What can I cook for you that would help you stay on track? What can I do to support you in this? Because I
Right.
respect so much what you're trying to accomplish here.
And I think
Um,
it's the offer that matters. I don't think it's that they agree to it. They may saying, hey, I'm not asking for broccoli for every meal.
yeah.
What I'm saying is
It-
I'm trying to do thus and thus, and I appreciate the support.
it's
You
recognizing the shifts of your spouse's
hmm
needs. I think that might be a good way of saying it.
Right.
There's going to be a shift potentially in what your spouse needs in a season of working towards a new goal or an expanded goal.
Hmm. Well, you're talking about, in the initial process, like if you're working out, you might be sore and tired and all that, but it's also just kind of the, how would you say it? It's the whole, I'm here and I trust you with what you're doing. And I'm not going to, like, for me, you're a workout nut. So, I mean, if I all of a sudden start saying, well, you need to do it this way, I'm not showing you respect for the
Right.
research you've done, for
Right.
the program you've set up. And
Sorry, I have something in my eye.
it's me. She's looking at me, and I'm in her eye.
It's like I'm looking.
So for our next
No, that's
podcast,
good. No, that's good.
um,
That's a good point, is to respect, again, going back to perspective
mhm,
of how they are trying, the path that they have discovered or have researched to accomplish the goal.
right.
It
And
may
like you
not
said,
match what you want to
if you're
do.
really sore and tired, that's what that's telling you is growth is painful.
Yeah.
And it may be something totally different than
Oh, absolutely.
exercising,
Yeah.
whatever. It's whatever you're doing to achieve your goals. You got to give up to go up. Well, then when you give up, it's painful,
Mhm.
and it can be almost like a sense of loss
Mhm.
because all of a sudden you don't get to do
You
some
get to
things
give
that you
up
did.
something, right? And if I'm over here not respecting that, and if I'm just like completely, I love the word diminishing, just not creating any validation for you in that at all. That makes it real challenging for a spouse to accomplish a goal. And I think that's what this is about, is that you help each other, that two are better than one. We can get farther when we're
Hmm.
both, even if I'm not the one pursuing the goal, if I'm there supporting you in pursuing the goal, I win too, because you
Yeah.
become a better person, whatever it is you're attempting to
Right.
accomplish and achieve. And so lastly, so we talk about our goals, we express that admiration, we show respect,
Hmm.
and then finally we give one another grace when those priorities shift, and balance is difficult.
Right.
When you're shifting and your balance is off a little bit, that's some of the most vulnerable and difficult times that as a spouse, that I can present to you.
Right.
And so vice versa. It's really, really, really important to show some grace in that and figuring out what that looks like, knowing your spouse's love language, knowing how they
Hmm.
communicate, knowing the things that help them to manage for those
Right.
core values being healthy and thriving
Yeah.
in your life.
No, that's good. That's you know, I don't think there's anybody out there that never needs grace. And here we are, and I'm talking about from your spouses, not from God. We definitely need it from God. But anytime that you're working towards something and you're working through those processes, you might get a little snippy. You might
Oh
get,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
where
You're
you're
off balance.
not concentrating when, we talk about listening and communicating a lot. And if you're not actually focusing on our spouse as they're talking, then we're not truly listening. So um that's when the one that says, hey, I'm supporting you in what you're doing, so therefore I'm going to give you grace that you're not treating me exactly like I want to be treated at the moment.
Right. And I think that's what, now it's not going to go on for years or
Oh,
months,
no, you should adapt.
but you should also have in your back pocket a dialogue and a language that allows you to have a pre-assigned sentence
Yeah.
to help with your spouse. Like, hey, babe, I've noticed you've been working out really hard lately. How's that going for you? And what can I do to help you?
Mm,
Or, man, I bet that's really hard. I know that it changes the psychology of your brain when you're
right.
doing that. Whatever that, just
But
having that
everybody
conversation.
needs
Yeah,
a cheerleader to a certain
yeah,
extent, and to an
absolutely.
extent that's what showing them grace is.
That is true.
It's just wow, yeah, keep it up. It's not getting offended because maybe they're pulling away on time,
Right.
because
Right.
they're putting so much effort into this new goal,
Absolutely.
whatever it is.
Absolutely.
And again, I think as a couple, a lot of times you'll find out that you'll be able to do those things together.
Oh, absolutely. I think if one begins to seek a goal, so many times when one of us starts down a path, the other one pretty quickly jumps on board and wants to participate as
Right.
well. And I think that's what you'll find. It's pretty rare that one spouse is completely. The only thing I can think of is if you were actually pursuing a journey that required a personal education or something where
Mhm.
you were the one having to put in the time that I can't actually help you with that,
Right.
but it's helping you create that space and that environment. Because I love what comes out in the Symbis is that achieving our goals isn't necessarily a linear process. You may need to pause and alter the journey so that your marriage and family can continue to thrive while you're working together. I love that.
Right. That's good.
It's not a point A to point B. Sometimes it's a point A, jump up to point E, back down to point X,
Right.
and then back up. And so it's recognizing that it's not linear all the time.
No, it's more like the stock market.
It's more like the stock market. And so you're just not going to be able to follow that through with ease. But
Right.
it's very important. You're going to thrive in marriage to be able to recognize that and work together so that you can achieve goals, because we're created in God's image and God is always creating. Light is still being created.
Yes.
That's the picture. So achieving a goal together is one of the most powerful things that your marriage purpose can facilitate.
Right. Well, I think we'll wind it up right there.
Yeah,
I think that's
think
that's a
so.
pretty good spotting stop.
Spotting stop.
Stopping spot. We'll call that good. So thank you for joining us on Pillow Talk. Go to our website, foreverwithpurpose.com. Go in there, fill out that little sheet at the beginning. Send us,
Test.
yeah, that says that you want to follow up more, and we'll let you know when we're going to be somewhere speaking or any other little special things that we have coming up.
We want
So
to connect with you.
yeah, thanks again. Have a great
week.